Gabriel Garcia Marquez's amazing book, 100 Years of Solitude, feels like a dream you just can't shake off. It's about the Buendia family, a big, complicated family living in the made-up town of Macondo. As you read it, you get pulled into a world where magic is real and amazing things happen every day. But underneath all the yellow butterflies, ghosts, and endless rain, there's a strong, quiet idea running through the whole story. This idea is solitude. It's a deep loneliness, but it's also something people choose, a place for thinking, creating, and sometimes going a little crazy. The book shows how each character deals with being alone, making solitude as important as any person in the Buendia family. This deep look at being alone really connects with what it's like to be an introvert. In a world that often loves noise, crowds, and always being social, Marquez's book gives us a different way to look at things. It suggests there's a rich, complex world inside ourselves. For many people, especially those who are introverts, this isn't just a story idea, but how they actually live. The book teaches us that being alone isn't just about not having company. It's a space full of thoughts, dreams, and new discoveries. It's a place where your mind can breathe, where ideas can grow, and where you can slowly, patiently find out who you really are. Much like the old writings in the story. The story of Macondo is, in many ways, the story of a town that started alone and was meant to end alone. It's built away from everyone else, cut off by swamps and mountains, and it eventually disappears in a whirlwind of forgetting. This physical aloneness is like the emotional and mental aloneness its people feel. The Buendias are a family that lives together, but each person is often stuck in their own world of fixations, memories, and unspoken feelings. Their trouble truly connecting with each other causes a lot of sadness, but their personal journeys into being alone also lead to amazing new ideas and creativity. This video will explore how the quiet power of introversion is shown in the lives of these characters. As we go through the lives of the Buendias, we'll see how their experiences with being alone can be a strong example for modern introverts. We'll look at how characters use their quiet time to invent, to lead, to remember, and to understand the world in their own special ways. This doesn't mean that being alone in the book is always good. It's often a heavy, difficult thing. But by looking at both its good and bad sides, we can learn important lessons about the need for balance. For young readers and students dealing with their own social lives, this classic story is a timeless reminder that there's huge strength and beauty to be found in the quiet parts of our own minds, and that it's totally fine to value your inner world. To understand the connection to Marquez's work, we must first gently unpack what it truly means to be an introvert. It is a term that is often misunderstood, frequently confused with shyness or social anxiety. However, introversion is not about a fear of people, it's about energy. Introverts are people who recharge their batteries by spending time alone. While an extrovert might feel energized and excited after a large party or a busy social event, an introvert is more likely to feel drained. For them, solitude is like plugging into a charger. It is a necessary and restorative process that allows them to process their thoughts, feelings, and experiences from the outside world. It is a quiet refueling of the spirit. Imagine your social energy as a finite resource, like a glass of water. For an extrovert, social interactions fill the glass up. For an introvert, each interaction slowly pours a little bit of water out. When the glass is empty, they need to retreat to a quiet place to let it fill back up again. This doesn't mean they dislike people or don't enjoy meaningful conversations. In fact, many introverts cherish deep, one-on-one connections. They simply thrive in lower stimulation environments where they can focus their energy more deliberately. They prefer the calm of a library to the clamor of a concert, the depth of a long chat with a close friend to the breadth of small talk with a room full of strangers. This preference for quiet is not a flaw or a weakness. It is a fundamental part of an introvert's temperament, hardwired into their nervous system. Research suggests that introverts are more sensitive to dopamine, the reward chemical in our brains. Extroverts may require more stimulation to feel its pleasant effects, while introverts can feel overstimulated by too much of it. This is why an introvert might find a quiet afternoon with a book or a walk in nature to be deeply satisfying and fulfilling. Their inner world is a rich and vibrant place, full of ideas, daydreams, and observations. They are often keen listeners and deep thinkers, processing information carefully before they speak or act. It is crucial to differentiate introversion from shyness. Shyness is the fear of social judgment, a form of anxiety that can make social situations feel stressful and intimidating. While some introverts can also be shy, many are not. A confident introvert might be perfectly comfortable giving a presentation to a large audience or leading a team, but they will still need to retreat afterward to recover their energy. Understanding this distinction is key. Being an introvert is about how you gain and expend your energy. It is a quiet, steady way of being in the world, one that values depth over breadth and reflection over constant action, much like the pensive characters we meet in the solitary world of Macondo. 100 Years of Solitude is a gallery of characters who, in one way or another, embody the spirit of introversion through their deep engagement with solitude. The patriarch of the family, José Arcadio Buendía, is our first and most dramatic example. His initial solitude is one of intellectual curiosity. He locks himself away in a small laboratory, attempting to unravel the mysteries of the universe with magnets, astrolabes, and alchemical formulas. This is not a man fleeing from society. This is a man so captivated by his inner world of ideas that the outside world simply fades away. His solitude is a workshop for his magnificent, albeit sometimes mad, obsessions. He finds more companionship with the ghost of the gypsy Melquiades than with his own family. Then there is Colonel Aureliano Buendía, perhaps the most iconic figure of solitude in the novel. Even as a child, he is described as withdrawn and clairvoyant, possessing a quiet intensity that sets him apart. His solitude deepens throughout his life as a revolutionary leader. In the midst of war and chaos, he finds his only peace in the solitary, repetitive work of crafting tiny golden fish in his workshop. This act becomes his ritual, his meditation. It is the quiet space where he can retreat from the noise of his own legendary status and the brutality of the world he helped create. His solitude is a fortress, protecting a fragile inner self that the world is not allowed to see or touch. We also see this trait in Remedios the Beauty, a character whose otherworldly innocence creates an unintentional but impenetrable shield of solitude around her. She is not an introvert by choice or by intellectual pursuit. Her solitude is a natural consequence of her being. She is so completely unconcerned with the conventions and desires of the world that she exists in a state of pure, isolated grace. People are drawn to her and destroyed by her, yet she remains untouched, floating through life in her own private bubble until she literally ascends into the sky. Her story illustrates a different kind of solitude, one that comes not from thought or trauma, but from a fundamental disconnect with the ordinary human experience. Even Ursula Iguaran, the family's resilient matriarch, experiences a profound solitude in her later years. As she goes blind, her world shrinks, but her inner perception grows. She navigates the house not by sight, but by a deep, intuitive understanding of its rhythms and secrets. Her solitude is one of quiet observation, a silent witnessing of the family's repeating cycles of fortune and folly. Each of these characters, from the obsessive inventor to the weary soldier to the ethereal beauty, shows us a different face of solitude. They demonstrate how spending time alone can be a source of creation, a means of survival, and a state of being, mirroring the varied experiences of introverts in our own world. The experiences of the Buendia family members in their solitary states hold up a fascinating mirror to the inner life of a real-world introvert. For many introverts, the compulsion to retreat into a private space is a familiar and powerful urge. Just as José Arcadio Buendia felt an overwhelming pull toward his laboratory to explore his scientific passions, an introvert might feel a similar need to close their door and lose themselves in a book, a piece of music, or a creative project. This is not an act of rejection against the outside world, but rather an act of devotion to the rich, stimulating world within. It is a space where ideas can be explored without interruption, and where the imagination has free rein to wander. Consider the quiet focus of Colonel Aureliano Buendia in his workshop. After leading armies and surviving countless attempts on his life, his ultimate comfort is found in the meticulous, solitary task of making little gold fish. This resonates deeply with the way introverts often find peace and restoration in focused, solitary hobbies. Whether it's gardening, painting, coding, or simply organizing one's thoughts in a journal, these activities allow the overstimulated mind to settle. The repetitive, predictable nature of such tasks can be incredibly meditative, providing a much-needed anchor in a world that often feels chaotic and loud. It is in this quiet repetition that an introvert can process their experiences and find a sense of control and inner peace. The feeling of being slightly out of sync with the rest of the world, much like Remedios the Beauty, is another experience that many introverts can relate to. In a society that often prizes social ease and constant communication, an introvert might feel as though they are operating on a different frequency. They may not understand the appeal of loud parties or endless small talk, just as Remedios was baffled by the complexities of romantic courtship. This isn't a judgment on others, but simply a recognition of a different way of being. This slight disconnect can lead to a sense of isolation, but it can also foster a unique perspective and a strong sense of self, unswayed by social pressures or popular opinion. Furthermore, Ursula's solitude in her blindness offers a powerful metaphor for the introvert's keen powers of observation. While she loses her physical sight, her other senses and her intuition become extraordinarily sharp. Similarly, introverts, by spending less time talking and more time listening and observing, often notice the subtle details that others miss. They can pick up on body language, unspoken emotions, and the underlying dynamics of a social situation. This quiet, observant nature allows them to develop a deep understanding of people and their surroundings. Like Ursula navigating her home by memory and feel, introverts navigate their social worlds with a quiet, perceptive wisdom that is cultivated in their moments of solitude. Solitude, as 100 Years of Solitude so beautifully illustrates, is not an empty void. It's actually a fertile ground where creativity, insight, and personal growth can flourish. In the quiet of our own company, our minds are, free from the constant demands of external stimuli, which lets us connect thoughts and ideas in new and surprising ways. This is really the alchemy of alone time. Just as the alchemist in the novel sought to turn base metals into gold, introverts often use their solitude to transform raw thoughts and scattered observations into something valuable. A new idea, a work of art, or, a deeper understanding of themselves. This process needs time, patience, and the uninterrupted space that solitude provides. Think of the gypsy Melquiades, who retreats into his room to write the parchments that contain the entire history of the Buendia family, past, present, and future. His monumental act of creation could only happen in complete isolation, away from the daily dramas of Macondo. This is such a powerful metaphor for the creative process. Writers, artists, scientists, and innovators throughout history have relied on periods of solitude to do their most important work. It's in these quiet moments that the aha of discovery can strike, that the threads of a complex problem can be untangled, and that the vision for a novel or a painting can finally come into focus. For an introvert, this creative sanctuary isn't a luxury. It's actually an essential part of their being. Moreover, solitude is a crucial ingredient for self-reflection and personal growth. When we're constantly surrounded by others, our thoughts and opinions can become entangled with theirs. It's really difficult to hear our own inner voice above the noise of external expectations and influences. Spending time alone allows us to check in with ourselves. We can ask important questions. What do I truly believe? What do I want from my life? Am I happy? This process of introspection is like tending to an inner garden. It requires us to gently pull out the weeds of self-doubt and external pressure, so that our own authentic feelings and desires can, grow strong and healthy. The good things that come from this introspective solitude are actually numerous. It can lead to greater self-awareness, which in turn fosters emotional maturity and better decision-making. It can boost our confidence as we learn to trust our own judgment and enjoy our own company. For students, quiet study time away from distractions is often the key to mastering a difficult subject. It allows for the deep concentration necessary to absorb and synthesize complex information. In this way, the solitude that might seem unproductive to an outside observer is actually a period of intense and valuable inner work. A quiet forging of the self that mirrors the solitary labors of Macondo's most memorable characters. One of the most profound lessons from the novel comes from the enigmatic figure of Colonel Aureliano Buendia. His journey teaches us that leadership is not always loud. The colonel is a man of few words, yet he inspires thousands to follow him into battle. His strength comes not from charismatic speeches, but from a deep well of inner conviction forged in solitude. This is a powerful message for introverts who may feel that their quiet nature disqualifies them from leadership roles. The Colonel shows us that authority can be rooted in quiet confidence, thoughtful action, and a powerful sense of purpose. An introvert's ability to think deeply before acting and to remain calm under pressure can be immense assets in any leadership position. A second key lesson is the importance of having a golden fish workshop, a personal sanctuary for restoration. After the horrors of war and the burdens of fame, the Colonel retreats to his solitary craft. This is not an escape from responsibility, but a vital act of self-preservation. It is the way he processes his trauma and recenters himself. For every introvert, finding a personal workshop is crucial for well-being. This could be anything from playing a musical instrument, to hiking in the woods, to coding a new app. It is a sacred space or activity where the noise of the world fades away, allowing for mental and emotional renewal. The novel teaches us that we must all have a place to retreat to, a quiet harbor to repair our spirits. A third, more cautionary lesson from the Colonel's life is the danger of letting solitude curdle into complete emotional isolation. While his solitude gives him strength, it also builds a wall of ice around his heart. He eventually becomes incapable of feeling love or connection, stating that he fought for pride, not for ideals. This serves as a vital reminder for introverts. While solitude is necessary for recharging, it should not become a permanent fortress that shuts out human connection. The goal is to find a healthy balance, to enjoy the restorative power of being alone without losing the ability to form meaningful bonds with others. We need our quiet time, but we also need people who can see past our walls and warm our hearts. Ultimately, Colonel Aureliano Buendia's story validates the introvert's path. He is not a conventional hero. He is complex, flawed, and deeply solitary. Yet, he is also powerful, resilient, and unforgettable. His life affirms that one does not need to be the loudest person in the room to make a significant impact on the world. It tells the quiet student in the back of the classroom that their thoughtful nature is a source of strength. It encourages us to honor our need for alone time, to cultivate our own private workshops, and to lead from a place of deep, quiet integrity, all while remaining mindful of the importance of connection. Ursula Iguaran, the amazing older woman of the Buendia family, shows us a different but just as strong lesson about how much power there is in being quiet. For most of the book, she's the family's go-to person, full of energy, like a force of nature, keeping the crazy household together. But as she gets older and can't see anymore, she enters a new time of deep, quiet watching. The first thing we learn from her journey is that being smart often comes from listening more than talking. When she can't see, Ursula becomes the quiet witness to her family's repeating habits. She stops trying to control everything and instead starts to truly understand. For people who are more introverted, who are often good at listening and watching, this shows that their way of being is really valuable. There's a lot of power in quietly taking everything in and noticing the little things others miss. Another important idea we can learn from Ursula is how strong you can become when you're quiet. Even as her physical world gets smaller, her spirit stays incredibly strong. She builds an inner fort of memories and feelings that helps her get through not just her home, but also the complicated feelings of her family. Her being alone isn't about being bitter, but about changing. She learns to see in a new way. This teaches us that when things get tough, taking some time to think by yourself can give you amazing strength. It helps us change, find new ways to deal with things, and build the inner strength we need to face life's problems without being crushed by them. A third lesson from Ursula's later years is how important it is to be a steady support for others, even from a quiet place. Even though she becomes physically weak and quiet, her presence is still the heart of the home. The family knows she's there, a quiet, steady force. She's like a living book of their history. This shows introverts that they don't need to be loud or bossy to be an important part of a family, a group of friends, or a community. Their calm, steady presence can make others feel stable and comfortable. Being a good listener, a thoughtful friend, and someone you can count on are quiet ways of leading that are very valuable. Ursula's journey from a busy family leader to a blind, quiet observer is a touching story that celebrates the worth of a quiet life. She shows us that being alone doesn't have to be about thinking deeply about big ideas or making art. It can also be about a deep, quiet connection to the rhythm of life and the people you care about. She shows a different kind of introverted strength, one based on seeing things clearly, being tough, and having a quiet, steady presence. Her story is a comforting reminder that how valuable we are isn't measured by how busy we are or how loud we speak, but by how deeply we understand and how strong our hearts are. 100 Years of Solitude is more than just a story about a family in a magical town. It is an epic poem about the human condition, with solitude as its recurring haunting melody. For introverts, the novel can feel like a homecoming, a validation of the deep, often misunderstood, need for quiet and reflection. The Buendias, in their magnificent and tragic isolation, show us that a rich interior world is not something to be ashamed of, but something to be explored. From José Arcadio Buendia's obsessive quest for knowledge to Coronel Aureliano's meditative crafting, the book champions the idea that great things can be born from the silent spaces in our lives. The lessons woven throughout the story are timeless and reassuring. We learn that leadership can be quiet and thoughtful. We see that creativity requires a sanctuary, a private workshop for the mind. We understand that resilience can be forged in silent observation, and that an inner world, rich with imagination, is a magical place to inhabit. The novel doesn't shy away from the dangers of solitude. the loneliness and emotional detachment that can become a prison. Yet, it is this balanced portrayal that makes its message so powerful. It encourages us to seek a healthy rhythm between our inner and outer worlds, to recharge in our quiet corners so that we may engage with the world more meaningfully. For any young person who feels more at home with a book than at a party, or who needs time alone to feel like themselves, this story offers a powerful message. It is okay. It is okay to be quiet in a world that can't stop talking. It is okay to find joy in your own company. Your path is your own, and it does not need to look like everyone else's. Like the many members of the Buendia family, each of us has our own unique relationship with solitude. The key is to understand it, to honor it, and to use it as a source of strength, creativity, and self-discovery. In the end, 100 Years of Solitude invites us to embrace our own narrative. It suggests that our moments of quiet are not empty pages in the story of our lives. They are the pages where the most important parts of our character are written. Just as the final Buendia had to embrace solitude to decipher his family's destiny, we too can find clarity and purpose in our own quiet moments. Let us not fear our need for alone time, but see it as Marcus did, as a fundamental, mysterious, and powerful part of what makes us human. It is in these periods of quiet reflection that we can truly begin to understand our own story.